Okay.
All right. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
It's the
I'm sorry.
Are you okay? Do you need to go to the bathroom?
It was Craig's mic. Craig's butt mic was turned on.
No, that wasn't me.
That was clearly Gordon. That was Gordon. Everyone should know it.
The Musers, the podcast, episode 21, Eating Your Age in Hamburgers.
It's the Musers, the podcast. 3 friends sitting around talking about life, sports, or whatever strikes our fancy. I'm George.
I'm Gordon.
I'm Craig.
There we are. The trio.
Look at that. 3 Musketeers.
And we usually start this with our letter of the week. And a few episodes back, we talked about technology and the quick advancement, so much so that the name of the episode became Amish Sex Robots.
Yeah.
Was that your idea to call it that?
No, it wasn't, and I really regret that title.
Well, we get a letter from Cameron, who was on his way to work when he was listening to Amish Sex Robots. Said it made him a little uncomfortable to have that title on his screen. I guess he has a big screen in his vehicle on his way into work. And then he pulled into his favorite drive-through, and it's one of those that doesn't just have the window, but the employee who comes out, takes your order, and then hands you your food. And he says that he was enjoying his Musers podcast on his way to work at a fairly high volume because he's over 50. And as the sweet older lady approached the window, Jubbs suddenly mentions, quote, still humping a Barbie doll. Mind you, the sweet older lady and I had a very cordial and friendly history of small conversations over the past few years. Horrified, I quickly turned down the volume as she broke eye contact with me and glanced at my screen, which brightly read Amish Sex Robots. She nervously handed over my food, seemed shaken by what she had heard and saw, and from someone she thought was a very kind and friendly guy on his way into work. He was horrified at the moment, but admits that as he drove off, that he cry-laughed for at least 5 minutes afterwards.
Well, Cameron, that was his name, right?
Yeah, Cameron.
Well, hopefully the old woman's eyesight was bad. Maybe she couldn't make out the words on the dash there, on the big screen. Amish Sex Robots.
What would you think if you read that? If you're 7-year-olds or 17?
If I'm her, I'm booking an appointment immediately to be checked for senility. Like you would think there's no way I read that correctly.
No, that's what they had on the screen.
That doesn't make sense. Amish sex robots?
Well, sorry, Cameron, but thank you for listening to the podcast. And he says he is a big fan of the podcast. So thank you, Cameron. So this week, we thought we would talk about bucket list. And did you guys ever see the movie, by the way? The 2007 movie?
Jack Nicholson, Morgan Freeman?
Yes.
Yeah.
Rob Reiner, I think.
I ever saw the movie.
I didn't either. And it was about the same time when I made out a bucket list, and I told you guys about that list a few episodes ago when we were talking about what we love. And that was my first question. When do you make out a bucket list? When you're 19, when you're 21, when you're in a middle-age crisis in your 40s or 50s?
What's still on my bucket list? Making a bucket list.
Me too.
That's another question. Do you have an official list? Do you keep it in your head? Do you put it on your laptop? I lost my original bucket list, but I knew what was on it because it was, very fresh on my mind.
If you make a bucket list, you need to get it framed and put it in a prominent place in your home where you'll always be reminded. And hopefully you'll have a lot of shame for not crossing some of those things out. It's a motivator.
Yes. Should you amend it every year? Should you go back and revisit your list? And
sure.
That's too much in framing costs.
No, I think as you change, your wants and your goals change.
Right.
And it's different from a goal list, right?
Yes.
Like a lot of people in college, I want to have this job by 25. I want to do this by 30. I want to get married by 35, have a kid by 40, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. That's not a bucket list, right?
No, I think it is different, but I did have that written down as is this basically what this is? It's a way to accomplish a goal for you. It kind of goes back to writing it out because sometimes, I'll get there. I'll eventually get to Africa or Europe, wherever you want to go. And a lot of these are places. Travel was the number one item for bucket lists that are made in the United States for men over the age of 25, I believe it was. So that's a big one. But, yeah, I think you have to amend it at least every year because maybe you're crossing things. You got to officially cross off the bucket list.
You got to amend it, and it changes with you.
Yeah.
As you change, so does the bucket list change. But, yeah, so what is the difference between a bucket list and just a life goal list, or is that the same thing?
I don't know.
I think it's the same thing.
I think it's kind of the same thing, and I will say that the few times that I have written something down, I want to do this, I need to do this, I've done it. Because
the magic of writing it down.
I've held myself accountable. By the way, in Get Right November, going back to when we write things out, the gates at my house are fixed.
Yeah.
The bed at my house, now fixed. Now inflates on both sides. And a new refrigerator is being delivered today.
Good.
Oh.
Good. The episode helped you.
Getting right.
By the way, I would disagree with you guys. I think a goal list, a life goal list, and a bucket list are two totally different things.
Okay. Totally different?
Totally different. I don't think they resemble each other in the least.
Okay.
I think a bucket list they're things that you want to do outside of your normal life course.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are the little things that spice up the life, the extracurriculars. And I think a life goal list is what job you want to do. I don't think, you grow up wanting to be a doctor or a lawyer. I don't think that's a bucket list. I think that's a life goal.
Okay.
And then, yes, I'd like to get married one day. I would like to have a kid. I don't think having a kid is a bucket list thing. I think a bucket list thing is climbing Mount Everest. Mm-hmm. Not saying this is on my bucket list.
Okay, so bucket lists are basically unnecessary experiences.
Yes.
Okay. Not in a pejorative sense, unnecessary, but yeah, they're
that help make your life fuller.
It's the spice, not the
Yeah.
But let me throw out one that I had on my list, my bucket list that I made out. It was 20 years ago, I guess. It was pretty close to 20 years ago. I'll say it was 19 years ago. I think it's 2006. One of those was hold a grandchild, which you're right. That's not something I can just go out and order or do myself.
Well, you probably have friends that have grandchildren that you could hold.
Yeah.
But my own. Is what I meant. My own.
You need to be more specific.
But what that was also a way of me saying, hey, take care of yourself so you're around to do that. Mm-hmm. That was important to me. And maybe that shouldn't have been on the list. Maybe that was more of a goal than a bucket list thing.
Yeah, I think that's a goal thing.
Yeah.
Did you also have a goal list ever?
Yes. And going back to high school, it was really the only time that I did it. I should have stuck to it. But it was when I was playing golf and I made a list of 3 goals.
Play on the PGA Tour.
No,
win the U.S. Amateur.
It was much more realistic. It applied to what we're going through that year in competition that year, and it was win a particular tournament that was on our home course, have your score taken in that, win district, and go to state. And while I didn't accomplish all of that, it's a long story that you don't want to sit through. We did win a tournament that we've never won before, and I had the best semester of golf that I've ever had before.
So what I'm hearing from you, Giorgio, is that you think there's something magical to writing down and formalizing the goal in your head.
With me, I think there is.
Right.
I've seen enough proof of that in my own life. I don't think that it's true for everyone, but it could be. If you feel like you're going in circles and you think, yeah, I need to do that, or I needed to be better at this, maybe if you do write it down and be intentional about it, you've quit some habits. Did you have to write it down, or did you just say to yourself, I'm not going to smoke anymore?
Why are you calling me out?
Well, I just thought it was a good example.
A very personal thing. No, I don't think I wrote that down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you were very intentional
because I didn't want
it.
any written record that I ever did smoke.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm broadcasting it now for eternity on podcast networks, wherever you get your podcasts.
Yes.
No, I mean, look at this, though, Giorgio. Right in front of me is my paper day planner.
Okay.
Written all throughout here. I like to write down everything I'm not going to accomplish. That's what this day planner is turned into.
So it's not a to-do list. It's a I will never do it
list.
It's
intended to be a to-do list. But it ends up being things I didn't do this year.
But it's not a goal list. Your goal is to do those things, but it's not a goal list.
Right.
Okay. That's fair enough. Okay. So in the definition of bucket list, have you guys ever done one?
No.
No.
I've never written one down. I've never written a goal list down, but I always keep it in my mind. But even in my mind, I don't have a specific, these are 10 things I want to do. There are a lot of things that I say are on my bucket list, but I don't actually have one written down or this one that I can recall out of my mind that, oh yeah, these are the 10 things I want to do. I think it's ever changing. So I may have 5 things on it. I may have 50 things on it. I don't really know.
Yeah.
Well, see, I think that Giorgio's right, though, and that you ought to do the exercise of formalizing it. Formalizing your bucket list, and there's no limit to the things that you can put on there, but writing them down, I think, would be an interesting mental organization effort for you.
That sounds exhausting.
It's not that exhausting.
It just takes a matter of minutes. And one of the things that I wrote down 19 years ago was I wanted to write and record music.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I guess you could say that was a goal, but it was something that, well, I want to work towards that. That's not just something you can snap your fingers and just go do. Hey, write a song, record it. And we've done songs like that in our radio career. We've written spoof songs, but I wanted to write, I guess if you wanted to define it, something that was meaningful to me, and then record it with the band, perform with the band. And I only had it one time. I wanted to get together with a band and play one time. Well, that was 19 years ago. Now we've played hundreds of times. We just finished our 4th record, and I think it did influence my behavior in that initial, hey, let's accomplish this before it's too late, before you can't sing anymore, or before you can't record or do something with music.
So I think it's interesting that Junior doesn't even have a bucket list. He certainly didn't write one down, and he doesn't really have one in his head formalized. But yet you also mentioned that you've casually talked conversationally, and you'll say, that's on my bucket list, you know, just as a phrase that we used about things that we want to do. So what are these things that you want to do? What would be some candidates that if you were to make a bucket list, you think would fit your parameters?
So when I knew we were doing this episode, I jotted a few down. And the first things that came to mind, just like the survey George cited, travel. I would like to go to all 7 continents, and I've been to 5. So I need to go to Australia and South America I've never been to. I've always wanted to go to Patagonia.
Okay.
So that's high on my bucket list. But the travel to Patagonia is very dicey. My wife has been there, and she said you get on some really rickety planes because you're going to these outpost airports. So I don't think I'm ever going to accomplish that because I don't have any interest in getting on anything other than a very modern, well taken care of jet.
Yeah.
But I do want to go to South America somewhere, and I would love to see Patagonia. And I do want to go to more New Zealand than Australia. I've never been drawn to New Zealand, but New Zealand's technically not a part of the Australian continent. And as long as I'm down there, I might as well go to Australia to check off all 7. I do want to go to all 50 states, and I'm at 45. So I need Delaware, Maine, South Dakota, Iowa, and Nebraska. And I've been told I can check off South Dakota, Iowa, and Nebraska by going to Sioux City. It's in all 3.
It's right there. Yeah.
So I want to get to all 50
so
states.
Cheap, though.
It is.
Because all you're getting there, you're not really looking for the experience of what is the local life like in each of these states. It's to have the sentence that you can finally say truthfully.
And I don't think that's how I would complete it. Like, I'd love to go to a Nebraska football game.
Yeah.
I want to go back to North Dakota since that's where my mom was from. And as long as I'm up there, go see Mount Rushmore in South Dakota.
There you go.
You know, and there's something Iowa. I've always wanted to do that Ragbri, I think it is, the ride across Iowa, the bike ride. It sounds amazing. So maybe that's how I would get those 3. I don't want to just go to Sioux City. But if I'm 95 and I haven't checked those 3 off yet, maybe I'll do that.
Yeah.
So travel was a lot of it. I think since I've done life backwards, I checked off most of my bucket list stuff early when I was single and had no kids. And now that I'm a late in life father, now that's kind of all I think about. And I don't really have many more bucket list things on my to-do list or my bucket list. That's redundant. because I feel like I checked a lot of those off, in my 20s and my 30s and my 40s.
I thought about that with both of you guys because you've traveled a lot more than I have. But
well,
also,
because you used to have a horrible attitude towards traveling too.
Well, and you had kids young.
I had kids. It wasn't always it was a horrible attitude in talking to you about it, probably more than it was about traveling. And yeah, I had responsibilities, and it seemed like in football season we worked 7 days a week, and I just didn't have the time. I didn't make the time. I've been more intentional about going overseas. I've taken 2 trips to Europe in the last 3 years, which is really branching out for
That's
me.
good.
But I also
because
thought
your
about
original stance that I'm ragging on you for was you said that everything you need is already in Texas. Why do I need to go anywhere else to see any other?
That was
place?
my way of defending driving 3 hours as opposed to your extravagant European trips that you used to take.
That wasn't that extravagant. I put on a backpack and booked the cheapest flight to get over there and stayed in dumps.
But I will say I didn't really grow up thinking, man, someday I really want to see Europe. That was never really a motivating factor for me. But at the same time, I thought about this as I was growing up. If I had made a bucket list at, say, 15 or 18, hey, these are the things that I want to do at some point in my life. Man, I look back and we can talk about the sports venues, the fact that we've been to Super Bowls, the Masters, the NBA Finals. I never would have dreamed that I've seen some of the places and done some of the things that I've done over the last 40 years.
I would have never dreamed I had a job that forced me to go to those things that you just mentioned.
You have been forced to go to the Stanley Cup Final and the NBA Finals and the Masters.
Super Bowl.
And a lot of Super Bowls over the years. What's on your list? Or do you have one, Gordo?
I think that my list actually is a little bit different because, I really only have one goal for myself. Now, there's a lot of sub-goals within that. But I think my main goal is I hope before I die that I get some semblance of control over myself. That's my biggest one. It's like all these other things, like I want to lose weight, I want to travel, I want to get organized, get things done. There's so many creative things that I want to do, but all of them are lacking this one piece, which is I seem to have very little control over myself. I'm the least dependable partner I've ever experienced.
So you can't even control yourself.
Right.
Your mom said she couldn't control you.
I just want to get some level of mastery over myself, of my own time, my own efforts.
Which is why you just recently introduced this day planner like a year or two
ago. That's a really fancy one, by the way. It's really fancy, and you write very neatly in it.
I got a great price on this because I didn't end up buying this planner, this 2025 planner, till about midway through 2025.
Yeah, buy them late in the year.
You get them cheap.
That's a good way to do it. There's got to be a place, though, that you haven't been that you think, I'd really like to go there before I leave.
Lots of places.
Okay.
And the thing is I'll have vacation time and I'll never get around to booking the vacation. So
He's
then I
got to
just sit at home.
He's got to get control of himself before he can book these
travel,
vacations.
because you want to have a good time in the travel because you'll be worried about the things that you haven't taken care of.
Right, because
here.
I've gotten so behind and didn't do the proper prep work.
Okay.
That's my biggest problem.
Give me one place, though, that you haven't seen, because you have seen a lot of cool places.
Yes, I have, but I'd love to travel to the Far East. I'd love to see that area of the world. South America. I'd like to do all the continents as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be cool to go out and see the gorillas in the rainforest and all that.
Mm-hmm.
See them
amazing. Huh? Yeah.
See the gorillas fight.
See the gorillas fight. The way they hit that one gorilla was good.
Yeah, mine are a little more simplistic. Mine are a little more that I still have on the list are sports-based, because it is, and I've brought this up several times in our conversations through the years about Super Bowls. The first Super Bowl I was actually inside the stadium to watch it was with Craig. We couldn't get you a pass somehow. And it was so long ago that it was the last time the Cowboys went to a Super Bowl. It was Super Bowl 30. And I just remember being in Tempe and thinking, 8-year-old George would never believe this.
Right.
I'm watching the Cowboys play the Steelers in the Super Bowl. And that's top 10 days of your life. I may put that one on there just because it was such a surreal moment. And had I made a bucket list when I was a kid, that would have been on there. Watch the Cowboys play a Super Bowl someday in person. That was incredible.
So which sporting events remain?
U.S. Open. And I've got circled 2027 because that goes back to Pebble Beach, which was on my original bucket list. Play Pebble Beach someday, and I've played it twice since then.
See, I think the three of us have actually done a lot of our bucket list things.
Mm-hmm. We have.
Because when I think back over my life, like I would have wanted to travel to Europe, and then I ended up traveling to Europe. I wanted to go to Africa and see that land, and that was like it was a spiritual experience for me when I went to Africa with my brother, and it was just so beautiful. And, I still think about that, and like, wow, I actually got to go back to where we all started.
Yeah.
And then in more, that was kind of a spiritual experience, and other things that you talked about, things that you thought about when you were a kid. And then I grew up, and then I got this job in TV, and I ended up talking to a lot of these people that I had grown up watching on TV. When I interviewed David Letterman, I thought that blew my mind that I would ever have a chance to talk to David Letterman. It was incredible.
Yeah.
When I sat down and interviewed Julie Andrews, this is Mary Poppins. I watched that when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And I thought she was so beautiful in that when I was a little kid. And I actually got to sit and talk to her. So a lot of those things I got to do. I always wanted to write, and I lived long enough to write for the newspaper, see it published, and it won some awards doing that. And like all those feel like they were completed circles, like those circles closed.
Yeah.
And have a sense of completion to them.
I thought the same thing, that just some of the life experiences that I've had, the fact that when I first started in radio, got to interview Tom Landry. That may sound like, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. You're in sports radio. Yeah, but it was Tom Landry, and it was just the two of us. And again, 8-year-old me would never have believed that. What, you're going to have a conversation and it's going to be on record because you're talking to him on a recorder? Yeah, it's just it's incredible. Some of the great things we've gotten to do with this job over the last 30 some odd years.
That one sounds good. I'm putting that one on my bucket list.
Too late.
Too late. And I knew you would minimize
it somehow. About 30 years ago or something.
There are still some stadiums I haven't seen. I've never been to Lambeau before. I've never been to the Big House, University of Michigan, or the Horseshoe at Ohio State. Those are 3 college places that I want to go, and that's very high up on the list.
Yeah, I've got sports venues on my list too. I'm going to Michigan next year when OU plays up there.
Awesome.
Been to Ohio State. There are a couple of others. I'd like to go to Lambeau. I'd like to go to Wrigley. But I've been to enough good ballparks and college stadiums and arenas that I'm okay if I don't get to any of these others. So I wouldn't, I guess if I had to make a sports venue bucket list, those would be on there. And I'd like to check those off, but I'm also okay because of our job for 30 or 40 years. We've been able to go to all of these places. In other words, I'm kind of to a point in my life, and especially because a lot of things that were on my bucket list, if I had one, were kind of physically demanding or risky. Mm-hmm. And now I'm to a point in my life where I don't really need that anymore. I don't need the risk. And I've put my body through enough where that stuff has kind of taken a back seat now. And again, it's because I did life backwards. And when you have a kid late in life, you're less likely to do these risky events. Like a lot of people, when they get even older, they still want to jump out of a plane or climb Everest, and I just don't want any of that.
Yeah. George H.W. Bush, didn't he jump out of a plane when he was like 90?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know he's at least 80 when he did that.
That's something I want to do.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
well, let's do it.
No, thank
you, not me.
Could you?
I couldn't do it.
That holds no romance to you whatsoever.
No. I understand it, but it makes my feet sweat thinking of it, and I just don't want to put myself through that kind of misery.
I get the fear of it.
Yeah.
But can you get the beauty of it as well, which is that you're jumping out of a plane and you're seeing the world down below you like that, and you're flying.
It'd be incredible for a few seconds, but knowing the odds that there is something like a 60% chance that you will die.
Yeah, I think it is 60.
That keeps me from it.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. But back to travel, this is not very eccentric or maybe even that exciting. We live in Texas, and I have this written down, and someday I may even do it next training camp.
You've never been to the Alamo?
I have never
Been
driven.
to Fort Worth?
No, I've been there. I have never driven from Texas to California. And to me, that just sounds like a awesome, magical tour to stop at all the little towns. And at some point, we'll join Route 66 and just, I don't know. My brothers and sisters took that trip several times from Texas to California. And there's all these tales of driving in the middle of the night. I don't know if I'll do that, but I'd love to take that drive someday.
I'd go with you. I've done that once before, and I loved it because it had a lot of romance and nostalgia to me, too.
Yeah.
Crossing the desert. It was just awesome. Loved it.
And as much as I love the one or the Pacific Coast Highway, I'd like to go from California to Oregon. That's another drive on the one that I'd like to take. Or do you think the traffic would drive me insane around the big cities?
See, I want to take a motorcycle all the way up. But
okay.
That'd be fun, too.
And I've kind of gotten interested in these trans-American trails, the TAT.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't there an Oregon Trail, or is that an old computer game?
It's just an old computer game.
There's a trans intercontinental trail, the TIT.
There's no way that's a trail.
It's just ridiculous.
But
see, that's comedy.
But
right
I'm
there.
what? But I'm what?
I'm here to tell you
I would go on
comedy.
that drive with you as well. I love driving through the American Southwest. It's my favorite part of our country, and I just think it's so wide open, and the views are majestic, and the sky is blue, and I would love that. It's part of. For our radio show, remember I had my bucket list for every Texan, my top 10 things every Texan should have on their bucket list. And I think number one I had was going to Big Bend, and that's out that way.
Yeah.
You know, just that drive. There's a part of it when you were going from basically Abilene to Pecos, and you go through Midland, Odessa, where you're going to want to, you'd rather be in hell burning at that moment than be in that part of West Texas.
Yeah.
It's so godforsaken.
Jeez.
But there's also a little beauty to that. And then when you start getting into the mountainous areas, Davis Mountains and Big Bend is spectacular.
All right. What about any thing like that, Georgie, on your list? Physical challenges. Is there any sort of long hike you want to do?
Mm-mm.
No?
No.
I can't convince you at all to even start considering it.
I think I'm good with that. I don't know if this is a goal or bucket list, but since getting into my 50s, I've tried to water ski every birthday.
Okay.
That's a physical thing.
That's like Dr. J dunking on every birthday.
Yeah. And this was the most difficult time that I've ever tried it. Yeah, it was just tough. It's getting harder each year.
I got one along those lines. It's a buddy of mine was doing this for a long time, and I want to start with my 60th birthday coming up. I want to ride my bike 60 miles on my 60th and see how long I can do that.
That's great.
Can I ride 70 on my 70th, 80 on my 80th? I don't think 90 on the 90th is happening, but it's almost like the cycling equivalent of shooting your age.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, how long can I do that?
That's one of mine.
It's interesting, the birthday challenge. I do that with hamburgers.
How many
and
hamburgers?
I eat this amount of hamburgers on my birthday.
I have shoot my age, and I've had that for a long time. That was
my age
as a item on my bucket list.
Okay.
I have shoot my age. That is on my list.
Okay.
Almost as a tribute to my dad, because that was, man, he was, I know you guys think I talk about it a lot. My dad talked about that a lot and did that several times.
So when would that start for you? Around 70?
Yeah. If I could play a
70?
short course when I get in my late 60s.
age, but I don't think I can make it to 120.
Yeah, you might. And see, I think there are some golfers who are, you know, in their 80s who have no problem doing it, in their 70s who have no problem doing it. I don't mean to depress everyone, but I'm starting to think I don't think I'll ever be able to do it.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's going to be really difficult.
Even after you
Late
join?
Well,
60s.
of course it's going to. You can't do it on your birthday for sure. You're just talking about for the year, because your birthday you're on skis, so that'd be hard to get around the green.
Yeah, right.
wearing
On
the
my
skis.
birthday, but no, just to do it, because I'm just thinking physically how I am now, how I have degenerative driving condition that my drives get shorter each year. that by the time I'm 68, there's no way I can shoot 68, even on a short course. And
ladies' tees on a short course,
maybe, but then I'd feel bad. I'm hitting from the reds. Had to do that to shoot
bad
my
about
age.
that?
Because I remember guys who would play with my dad who were in their 70s and they'd shoot 71.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I remember thinking, that's really good. Now I look at that and think, that is amazing to shoot 71, to play that kind of golf when you're in your 70s. It's harder than you think.
So are you telling us that you've officially, with failed smile, crossed that off your bucket list?
It's still on the list. But I'm starting to think, man, that's really going to be tough to do. But maybe if you turn it into a goal, all right, well, physically take care of yourself better. Let's get in better shape. So when you are 68, you'll be able to walk 18 and shoot 68. It's possible.
So what are the years that realistically someone can do that? Is it usually when someone hits 70?
Yeah, I would say somewhere in there. But
really good players, 65 maybe.
Yeah. But see, even when the former PGA player is 65, his elbow hurts, his shoulders hurt, he's probably had back surgery, and now he's got to try to get around a course and make a bunch of putts.
Yeah, the sweet spot
65.
has to be 70 to 78, somewhere in there.
Yeah, 70s to mid 70s probably.
Don't give up on it yet.
No, I'm not giving up on it.
Yes, give up on it.
I've just come on. I've just looked at it and thought, yeah, that's really going to be tough to do if we're being realistic about this. What about musical venues? I've never seen a show at the Grand Ole Opry. That's on there.
Red Rocks.
So is Red Rocks. Yeah. And I've been to Green Hall. In fact, I was there just last weekend. But I added another one to the list. I bought a hat at Green Hall, and I told my family, I said, I'm going to wear this, and I'm going to play Green Hall someday. Now, maybe in the middle of the afternoon, like the band I was watching, but I don't care. That would be awesome.
Oh, you could do that.
That place has such a great vibe. I love Green, Texas. It has such a great old Texas feel to it that I would love to do that someday. And on some of these, I'm thinking, okay, let's do it sooner than later. Let's not think, we'll do that 5 or 10 years down the line. And I guess that's what happens to us as we get into our 60s. We start looking at some of these things on the list and think, okay, let's get to it. Because there's no promise that it's going to happen.
Heck, you can be 30 in your 30s and 40s, and you need to start realizing it's later than you think.
Yes, that's right. And that's why I think after that movie really, it spurned the idea with a lot of, I think, younger adults of, I might as well why can't I make a list when I'm in my 20s?
Yeah, you don't want a bucket list hanging over your head. Get it done now.
Right.
Yeah, so you don't have much to fill out when you're in your 50s and 60s and 70s. But yeah, those are on there for is there anything professionally that you haven't done that you set out to do, or maybe you did write it down? Gordo, did you have something as a writer you've always wanted to do? TV? Do you still have something on there that, I'd like to do that someday?
Yeah, I mean, I still have some writing goals. Like I want to write a novel.
A book?
A book. Yes, I want to write a book, which, I could do, but I need to get on it if I'm going to do it. But as far as like, I want to work at this radio station, or I want to be on this TV show or anything, I don't have anything like that anymore, I should say.
I wrote one down on that original list that I can't find, but I know it was on the list, and that is broadcast an NFL game.
Okay.
I guess that's still on the list. That would be cool, but I did a lot of games.
We could do that on this podcast. You just watch the feed and you'll just
no, I mean a real
an official entity,
which would be like a network broadcast.
Yeah,
and I don't know if I've crossed it off, but it's not. It doesn't motivate me.
Wait. So you're saying that not on the network that's carrying the NFL?
Yeah, but
like
I mean,
Fox.
there's different ways. I guess it could be a radio broadcast.
Okay, not a TV deal.
Either one.
Like you replaced Kevin Burkhardt for a game.
Yeah. When I wrote it down, I think I was thinking network TV.
Okay.
But at the same time, I also remember thinking, or heck, if I could do a game if I could be the announcer someday for the Monday night game on the radio network, I think that would be incredible. And I guess I still do. But it's been a long time since I've done games. don't know. It doesn't interest me like it used to. It used to mean so much to me.
You get to these points in your life where you look back at your old goals and you go, why did I ever even want that?
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that this is
right,
that yours is silly or crazy, but I'm talking about the disconnect. You sometimes will find yourself with a disconnect to your previous desires.
Yeah.
And you go, I don't know why I was so hell bent on that. Just consumed me, thoughts of that before. And now I look at that going, I really don't want to do that.
Right.
That's how I feel. And I think, George, you and I both felt this way in college. We wanted to do play-by-play.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought I wanted to do play-by-play for an NBA team, that would be, my life's goal. But I didn't really care. It wasn't a specific goal I had. I just thought that would be fun and great. And now that I look, and I never really thought about doing a talk show. And now that I look back and we've done this radio talk show for a long time, I would much rather do that than have been a play-by-play man for all that time, because of all that travel and play-by-play and just, you're just locked into that one thing, that one sport, that one team. And I think it would be what we do, on the radio side of things, is we get to talk about everything. And it just, I don't know, it seems like it's a lot of fun compared to what I originally wanted to do. The only thing I have left on my professional to-do list is I would love to one day be a part of a real professional, successful podcast. And I've never done that. And so I'm hoping that can happen.
I don't see that in your future.
I think this is happening right now. I think you can already cross that one off.
I guess that depends on who you ask on that one. No, you're doing great.
Am I?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, I have a question for you, Giorgio. Psychological question.
Okay.
So in your earlier adulthood, we would have these arguments and you would dismiss the travel thing when I was all high on travel, and you were like, it's just not that big a deal to me.
Mm-hmm. And I would still say, compared to most people, like, I was going to say you, but I out travel you now somehow, which is really strange.
Somehow you do.
But it's not as like I don't make plans for, I can't wait for my next trip.
Right.
But continue.
So why do people travel? Like, why is that such a big deal to people? And why does that fill up most people's bucket list? Or these places that they watched a million documentaries on, they know everything about it. They get the idea. We have enough media to where you don't need to travel to figure out what a place is really like.
Yeah.
What is it about going and standing in front of, hey, look, I want to travel and I want to see the Mona Lisa. And then you get there and you look at, okay, it's behind that glass in front of all these 50 people who are standing in front of me. There, I saw it. And then you walk away. And but yet it's still, for some reason, is motivating to us to want to go and see these places with our own eyes, even if it's for only 10 minutes. But it still means enough that we will, come hell or high water, spend our resources and our energy and our limited lifespan trying to get there.
Well, it's why Normandy is another site for me that is on my list that I've not been to. I can only think of the times that I've traveled, and I remember telling you guys about this experience when I took my family up to the Northeast. We saw Washington, D.C., we went through Pennsylvania, and we went to New York. We ended up in Canada. Saw the Rangers play in Canada against the Blue Jays. But on our way up there, I made a point. It was like 3 hours out of the way. We went to Gettysburg.
Mm-hmm.
And that, most powerful places you've ever been, Gettysburg was that for me. And just
it's just
looking
a
at
field, right?
It's just a field. It's just a field, but I felt something in that field. I felt, I could see it in my eyes from the history books and the movies that I'd watched of what that must have been like, or at least just a glimpse of it. And it was just very powerful. Tens of thousands of young Americans died on this field, just the field. But at the time, it was the future of our country hung in the balance, and these poor kids just row after row. And I don't know, I could feel the power of it, the emotion of it, the death. I could really sense the death of that beautiful Pennsylvania Valley.
Because you knew it, because
I
there's a
knew
sign
it
there, and because you'd watched movies and so on.
And I'm so glad. And I would go back there again. I felt the same thing when I went to Ireland and looked over these coasts and saw where the Titanic was last seen by land. And it registered with whatever we're made of.
I know. I'm with you. I mean, that's the same feeling that I got when I was a young man and I'd started traveling. I had this feeling of, I can't believe I'm allowed to actually be here and see whatever it is, standing on the Acropolis, and see these things I've read about my whole life, and now I'm actually here.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm walking in the same streets that Caesar walked or whatever. I don't know why that is, like that sense of place that impacts you so much, that you get to be there, that you get to see it, where history was made, where the things you've read about and seen your whole life, where they actually took place, or this is the actual coronation chair where every king of England sat on since whenever.
Just a chair.
1966.
Just a beach in Normandy.
It's just these places. And yet, and I also think a lot of times when you're walking on a European street, or heck, even an older place around here, you think, well, what is the greatest thing that's ever happened in this exact location that I'm standing in? And what's the most horrific thing? Because all these are unwritten stories. They evaporate with the wind.
Yeah.
All the human suffering and the human triumphs that have occurred in every patch of land in our civilized world.
Yeah.
And we just don't even know what happened here.
That's what interests me more. I don't travel and have never traveled to see something. I've always traveled to experience life in that location. I go to Paris, I don't go there to see the Eiffel Tower or the Arc de Triomphe. I go there to sit at a cafe on a random street corner and watch life. And I want to know what it's like to live in this town. What is their mundane life like? What is their everyday routine like? I think it's cool to see the Eiffel Tower or the pyramids or Mount Rushmore or whatever, but I've never traveled to see those things. I've always wanted to go to different countries and whatever's left on my bucket list, just to see what life is like there, because that's what intrigues me the most about our planet, is how we're all the same, but we all have these different lives and different routines, and we eat different food, and I want to sample the food, and I want to see what their weather is like and what their surroundings look like and how these people go about their day. That's my main interest in traveling, is just to experience, not really to see things.
So have you ever experienced object magic to where you see, I don't know, it could be seeing the George Brett pine tar bat, or seeing the bike that Lamond won that final stage on in 89 or whenever.
Oh, yeah.
When you see the actual thing in front of you, do you ever get like, oh my God, that is it?
For sure. Yeah. I experienced that a lot. It's not that I don't love that experience. I just don't necessarily seek it. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times I happen upon it, like a European trip, found this little cycling museum that had all these incredible jerseys and frames, and I was blown away. But that wasn't the point of my trip over there.
Yeah.
It was, now I get blown away by seeing, like, back to the bike, because it always comes back to the bike for me. The first time I got to ride up Alpe d'Huez or something like that, seeing all the familiar landmarks on that climb that I'd watched for 20 years, that stuff blows me away. But for me, it's about the experience of the location and the people and the food. That's why I think I loved Anthony Bourdain's shows, his two different shows, so much, is because when he went to a country, he didn't go to the tourist sites. Mm-hmm. He had a dinner with a family in their home in this, off the beaten path part of town, and just, what's it like living here? What do you eat every day? I want to have some of that. What do you guys think about your government? How's your education here? Like, if I get in a cab with someone in a foreign country, I like asking them, what's it like living here? Do you like your leadership? So that's the stuff that motivates my travel.
See, I like both of the things. I love seeing the sites, the famous sites, and I love doing exactly what you're talking about too, which is spending some time with somebody who lives there and talking with them at length and getting their take, and then being off the tourist beaten path and seeing those quiet streets that are just right outside the radius blast of the bustle of some big tourist attraction, where it's eerily quiet and life feels like it's it's more organic
Yeah.
happening.
It's like you're eavesdropping on it.
Yeah.
It's a cool feeling.
How about the best of both of those worlds? And that same trip when we went to the Northeast and we went through Washington, D.C., we had a connection where we got a very special tour of the White House, and we got to go in areas that you normally, I don't think, there's no way you could do this now.
That's really cool.
With the way security is. And my kids didn't have a great appreciation for it. They were, I think, 7 and 11 at the time. In fact, that was the same trip where my youngest at the time, he was 7, when we walked into the Baseball Hall of Fame, he collapsed to the floor and said, "Oh no, another museum." And he'd been to the Smithsonian, he'd been to the White House, these Gettysburg, all these incredible historical sites. But going back to when we were in DC and we went to the White House, we got to go inside the Oval Office, and it was during the Clinton administration. No jokes. And the Kennedy desk, he used that.
The Resolute desk.
Yeah, it was right there. And just, man.
I can't believe, I didn't remember this, that you went in the Oval Office.
Inside, because we were given a tour from a Secret Service agent.
Damn.
Yeah.
That is so incredible.
Yeah.
I would love. Could you imagine? I think it's cool that here in Dallas, Texas, we have at SMU, the Bush Library, that they have a replica of the Oval Office. And even that was cool to me, going in the replica. I could not imagine being in the actual Oval Office with the actual Resolute desk right there.
Right there. And we got to go into, I guess it was the Franklin Room, I believe it is, where they, they have very high-level meetings. Again, not on your usual White House tour. Got to stand at the podium where the president would, and maybe that was part of the deal back then, but stand at the podium. My kids got their pictures taken where the president would address the press.
Pretty cool.
Same podium that had been there for, I think, going back to Reagan. And it was just, but at the same time, it was quiet. We were not part of a tour of 500 people. It was just us. And there is something to that where you have the quiet and you can put in your own thoughts and your own questions and think of what this must have been like in 1947 or 1963 or whenever.
Did you take pictures of yourself in the Oval Office, or was that not allowed?
I don't think it was allowed, and it was before phone cameras, so we had the family camera, and we do have some pictures from the White House, but only in certain areas because that very reason. Yeah, they don't want. This is exactly what the Oval Office looks like. Access that most people don't get, and I'll never. Yeah, I ever forget that. That was awesome.
I'd love for you to find the date that you were in the Oval Office.
Okay.
Because we could go and line it up with any of the Lewinsky times that happened. So you may have been in there like right after the Lewinsky.
It was after
wipe
Lewinsky
down happened.
It was after Lewinsky because I remember when we were there, it was pretty tense.
It was tense.
And no sign of the president, no sign of Hillary, no sign of Monica. But it was that time. It was late in, I guess it was August of 98. And that happened earlier that summer, spring, or somewhere in there.
Indeed.
But yeah.
Well, that's all. That'll be on my bucket list. I'll put the Oval Office on my bucket list.
All right, put it on there. I don't think you have to do a bucket list, but I think it's an interesting exercise.
Yeah, and it makes life fun.
And maybe it will help you appreciate where you have been, what you have experienced. No, I've already done that, and I hadn't thought about that in a long time, but that was really cool, that trip or experience. All right. Well, happy bucket list to you.
Happy bucket list to you,
And I hope you accomplish whatever's on your list. I hope you get right. Are you getting right?
No.
Have you crossed off anything on your little list?
No.
What's going on?
I'll get around to it one day.
Do you want my help?
Please.
I think if you
I
just
hand you the
cross
syringe of window cleaner, will you inject it into me?
Gosh.
I will.
I think if you just cross off one thing from the list, you'll be surprised. Maybe something else will follow, and then another thing.
You're exactly right. Hey,
let's get
never underestimate the power of momentum. Momentum's a huge thing in life.
Let's take it one game at a time. All right.
Process. Yes, but you get one victory each day, and that leads to a second victory that day.
Well, today's victory was this podcast.
This
Can't
what?
say it. I don't know. This podcast. It was amazing. Thanks to our producer, Peter Welton. Peter puts up with a lot, and we appreciate him so much. And thank you for tuning in to the Musers, the podcast.
Well, that was fun. Hey, I got a question for you. Have you gotten somebody you know who previously had never heard the Musers hooked on the podcast? Or maybe yourself just randomly found it and started listening? We'd love to hear that story. Please send us a note, themuserspod@gmail.com. Otherwise, we always thank you for listening. We really do appreciate it. The Musers, the podcast, is a Tired Head production.